Hello there, welcome to my reaction to more Guilty Gear lore, Heaven or Hell, Duel 3, GGXX to GG2 Overture. Whatever that means. I forgot to say in the last episode, intro or whatever, when it's not about the lore itself, but I've noticed that the last two videos are pretty much an hour long. It's gonna be a bit tough, those two. I will try to release them as normally as possible. Just like watching two videos in the same time, or in a row, not in the same time. Anyway, like I'm subscribed, I'm not member, let's begin.
The saga continues. Welcome back.
Oh wait, no, it would be better if I do it now. The description things, I just watched. There is none. I think maybe in the pinned comment, no. God damn it, so it was only for one episode? I was like, I remember the second episode, I just watched it, so it will be good if I get some notes on it. Anyway.
These pieces together to help you understand the last 2 decades of lore. It's awesome to see how many of you guys are getting in there. As we approach Guilty Gear Strive coming soon.
Oh, it's before Strive's release.
Density is getting amped up. But everything we've learned of the story so far means we're ready. No brakes on this train.
No, we're gonna crush it.
Heaven or hell.
Heaven or hell.
Get ready to rock.
Dear Lord, I was not ready to rock. Did it become louder? Oh, 4 years time span. It's quite short.
In the world of Guilty Gear, time can be
Yeah. I was like, did I count wrong? Because on this thing it says 2181 AD and seems included. No, I didn't count it wrong. It's just how it is.
In the world of Guilty Gear, time can be convoluted. Alternate timelines and parallel realities are not foreign concepts to consider. Sometimes events are depicted that differ from the main path that we know, but observing these events can give an insight into the motivations that shape the world. 2181.
So the lore is a multiverse kind of lore. Oh, okay. It makes things more convoluted, but I am all for it.
Guilty Gear.
I'm not gonna say I hate lore like that.
Midnight Carnival.
Just add some more.
And Accent Core.
Midnight Carnival. Soul with his small sword. Tony May, but time can access. Zeta Faust, that woman, Ina. Was that someone trying to look under Zappa? Trying to Bridget? Trying to look under the Inu's skirt or something? Like the angle was a bit odd. Slayer is back. Testament, Dizzy. I guess it makes sense for lore to be multiverse, because Backyard is the parallel universe as well.
Shortly after Dizzy leaves the Grove, a collection of disruptive events occurs outside of the main timeline. The common denominator in all of them is the being known as Ino.
Fuck yeah.
Incredibly powerful with magic and time manipulation.
And guitar.
Ino is a musical outsider that doesn't know where she comes from, but is drawn to the concept of tomorrow.
Musical outsider.
Without knowing why, Ino witnessed a dull, gray future
swears.
awaiting humanity. And
How
now
dare
she's
she, what a
obsessed
bitch.
with changing that future by any means necessary. In most circumstances, this means stirring up trouble and creating conflict with her guitar Marlene, and altering major events for historical
Marlene,
figures.
is that the name of vampire
No
in
small feat,
Adventure Time?
But made possible due to her ability to meddle with causality.
Wait, no it isn't.
By slipping freely to and from any timeline. She does so in a similar manner to Axel Lowe. The main difference
she can control
being
it.
her ability to control it.
Yeah.
But no matter how many times she repeats history, the future always converges on a single point. The dull gray future awaiting humanity remained unchanged. She becomes one of that man's closest associates, and frequently takes it upon herself to eliminate anything or anyone that she believes stands in his way. But her methods frequently upset him.
I guess because of time travel.
2173 AD, the Battle of Rome. Another reality. In one
Okay.
previous instance of her time traveling, Ino is present in 2173 AD, just before Kai's last stand at the Battle of Rome. Ino pretends to be a helpless victim when she's found by Kai, but Holy Order Sol senses danger and immediately swings at her. Baiting Kai's sympathy, she later tricks him into searching hopelessly to rescue her, instead of retreating, as over 200 large class and 3 Megadeth class gears descend upon the city. Though Sol arrives to help, this time he's too late. Ino laughs to herself as Kai dies in Sol's arms.
Oh.
This causes a domino effect, leading to a damned world where Sol becomes commander of the Sacred Order, waging a lost war against Dizzy, who never meets Kai and chooses instead to inherit the will of justice. With Johnny killed, Captain May leads the Jellyfish Pirates into battle alongside Sol and Potemkin, but after 10 years of conflict, humanity is about to be wiped out. Ino roams this apocalypse,
Okay.
and after putting an end to a roaming murderous Dr. Baldhead, she eventually makes her way to the center of the Gear stronghold.
Kind of like the
and
butterfly
meets
effect
that man for the
storylines.
first time. To her disappointment, he is shackled, enchained, and completely powerless. But his words and vision for a different future pique her interest. Curious to see what the world he hopes for would look like, she uses her powers to revisit 2173 AD and save Kai, thereby correcting the timeline. Witnessing the result of her temporal change, he asks her to lend her strength to his goals. She accepts.
Okay.
Through the reflection of Ino's timeline disruptions, we see glimpses of alternate reality scenarios.
Alright. What else did she do?
Eddie, dying, lashes out at anything it can, desperate for a new host. Zato One's corpse can no longer provide sustenance, and time is running out.
Oh.
At one point, it attempts to possess Slayer's wife Sharon, but the light emanating from her immortal body melts the forbidden beast away.
Oh, okay.
Robokai, setting fire to Jam Kuradoberi's restaurant.
That was him!
Slayer
Oh, please listen to
reveals
this
to
universe.
testament that his nearly extinct race of vampires, the Nightwalkers, used to be humanity's greatest enemy before the Age of Gears. Axel Lowe's time-slipping condition is diagnosed by Faust as an affliction caused by the existence of another Axel. Baiken
That'd be
finally
Ino, or
confronts that man.
literal other accent?
She asks if he would prefer to die quickly or die slow and painful. Before effortlessly stopping her, he answers,
Oh, he preferred not
"Death
to die.
is not a choice. Death is giving up. He chooses to live slowly and painfully. For now."
I do that too, I
Angelito
guess.
meets that man and gets to ask his ultimate question. If gear technology allows human life to be extended,
What the hell happened in this universe? Why did they all meet that man? Did he just go on a world tour, like doing Q&As in different cities?
saves the environment, and the discovery of magic has already solved the renewable energy crisis, and the Earth's population has the ability to expand outward to space if needed. And we have all these clear solutions to all of our problems. Why? Why did it end up like this? To this,
Greed.
that man answers, divine punishment. Angie asks him
Right,
to
there
be
is no
more
sin.
specific. That man extends his hand and invites Angie to come along if he's prepared to defy both heaven and earth. That man appears before Saul, not to fight, but to warn him of a coming threat that will make the Crusades seem like a dim memory. A time that will require men to become more than men, and gears to become more than gears.
No, over gear.
Eventually,
Over man.
Raven and that man capture Ina and stop her time mischief.
Oh, okay. That was simple enough.
These timelines also introduce us to a number of noteworthy individuals.
Like
Zappa,
Zappa.
an ordinary young man from Australia who one day becomes cursed and possessed
Very
by
ordinary.
supernatural spirits, seeking Dr. Faust's help. He is prone to often losing his memory when he's taken over by Esco, the vengeful spirit of a dead woman with a grudge against any happy couple.
Yeah, grudge. That's
His
what I was
body
thinking too.
chosen because of his resemblance to the lover that abandoned her, causing her to take her own life. Zappa's contorted body is also host to a number of minor ghosts, an enchanted blade, a ghost dog, and a powerful lightning manifestation named Rao. Unlike Esco,
Of course it
however,
is.
these other spirits are more outwardly protective and caring of their host.
Okay. Who's
Bridget.
Zappa?
Born the youngest brother from a set of twins to a multi-billionaire family, Bridget's town superstitiously believed that male twins bring misfortune, and were so committed to this idea that they insisted that the youngest twin be given up for adoption or put to death. Neither
Oh,
of these options appealed to Bridget's parents, however,
don't remember that
so
part.
they chose to raise him as a daughter instead of a son. Despite a kind and loving upbringing, Bridget saw that his parents felt guilty for what they did, and tried his best but couldn't convince them that he was truly happy. He decides to leave town with his
He had
possessed
to
teddy
convince
bear
himself
weapon
first.
named Roger to become a bounty hunter, hoping to
It's a
return
One Piece
successful
character.
and wealthy as a man,
Except
to prove their extreme
also a bear.
superstitions incorrect. Abba, a shy homunculus created in a mountaintop laboratory named Flask
of course there's a
by a
homunculus.
scientist experimenting with artificial life. When Abba awakened, her creator was nowhere to be found. After 10 years of isolation and imprisonment, her yearning for freedom led to her becoming a key collector. After escaping Flask,
I would
by
say, why is
chance,
there
she
key in her
encounters
head?
Flament Nagel, a living demon war axe that was once wielded during the Crusades. Seeing it as a giant key, Abba names it Paracelsus and takes it as her husband, vowing to find him a real body.
Oh, I thought just as a key.
2182 AD, the butterfly and her gale. Chip Zanuck is reminiscing on the lessons his master Tsuyoshi taught him when he happens across an assassination attempt on Erica Bartholomew, the 75th President of the United States. She ran alongside Vice President Colin Vernon.
And then
After
Vernon
Chip
becomes the
intervenes
president
and
after
saves the
her.
president's
Okay.
life. She explains that the US government is currently being puppeted by the assassin syndicate, and that she's being targeted for her attempt to pass law in Congress that would sever their ties. As the syndicate is also responsible for Tsuyoshi's death, Chip wants to see them ruined and agrees to become Erica's bodyguard until the bill is passed.
I
The
think that was
assassin
mentioned in
syndicate
Strife.
persists in its hostilities, attempting to blackmail congressmen and frame Zepp, while sending an assassin named Wolf to infiltrate and finish the job.
Wolf. Not Wolf.
After luring Chip into a trap,
Wolf.
Wolf shoots Erica with a black tech gun, but she survives and continues addressing the public. Chip later
Not
intercepts
everything
Wolf
Black Tech is
and
good.
recognizes him as the man responsible for killing his master.
Just because it's
Wolf
named Black
tauntingly
Tag doesn't
insults
mean
the
it's good.
deceased Tsuyoshi and exposes Chip to the same drugs he was once addicted to. Chip manages to overcome Wolf's tactics and defeats him using Ki. With support also coming from Zepp and the IPF, Erica passes the bill, dealing a significant blow to the syndicate. Later, Kai delivers an IPF intel report
Is
to Chip,
APF just Illyria?
revealing that Tsuyoshi was actually an undercover agent embedded with the assassins, before escaping and taking Chip under his wing. Erica then asks Chip if he still intends to be president someday. He replies that he'll have to ask his master first.
And then kills himself to talk to him?
2183
Like what? How?
The United Kingdoms of Illyria are officially recognized by the UN. Post-Crusade reconstruction efforts progress. A gathering of different city-states, philosophies, and religions that came together for survival reasons eventually give way to a new melting pot culture.
IPF, Illyria,
The nation's capital
something
is
fun.
built atop the
Federation
ruins of
maybe?
Rome
How
and
it
quickly
was?
becomes the largest metropolis of the post-Crusade world.
Ooh.
The massive state not only includes Europe, but much of Asia as well,
God
splitting
damn.
the continent with the Federation of China. Illyria is divided into 3 kingdoms. Through popular vote, Kai Kisk is elected first king. First Holy Order soldier Leo Whitefang is elected second king. And the
Oh.
third king is named Daryl.
Okay, I thought Illyria had 3 kings and like the same, just Illyria and there are 3 kings. Kind of like kings and queens in like, I don't know, in the actual England, not UK, but England, that replace each other. But it's a king for different government or different country in the new UK. I don't know. Is that how
For
that
whom
works?
there would be
That's where there are
justice.
3 at the same time,
In
unlike
secret,
the England or
Kai
something,
spends more time with Dizzy,
where they go
and
after
before
another.
long, they fall in love. Despite the fact that they could not legally be married within the system due to her being a half-gear, Kai proposes to her anyway, and they begin living
Because
together.
he's romantic like
After a
that.
year of bliss, they were expecting a child. Kai suppressed his latent feelings of guilt and immorality with newfound joy. But the reminder of his sins returned seeing the inhuman pregnancy
Is that why he named
wife
his
had
son
to go through.
Sin?
A doctor that knew of their situation assessed that Dizzy appeared to be halfway through her second trimester, but only 3 weeks had passed. Furthermore, the magic-based equivalent of an ultrasound was unable to see the fetus because it was encased in an egg. At some point during the nation's founding,
That's how
Kai
beers work?
accepts an invitation from the Conclave.
That feels safer
They
than
point
actual
blank tell
birth.
Kai that they want him to become king of a new nation due to his popularity and status as a hero. Kai had previously considered that doing so would give him the power to create a better world for those who are suffering and for his wife and unborn child. But to suss out their motives, he politely dismisses his record
Suss
as
out.
that of a military officer, unsuited for politics. The officials are blunt in their reply. That's fine if you don't do politics. You just have to keep your mouth shut and sit on the throne. Realizing that
rude.
they want a puppet king, Kai excuses himself and asks to postpone the decision. They agree, but as he turns away, they pay their compliments.
He probably doesn't
By
want to
the
be a
way,
king
Your
less
second wife is quite charming,
than
isn't
being a
she?
puppet king.
She seems awfully familiar. Anyway, we look forward to your response.
Is that a threat?
Unparalleled
Also-
forward to your response.
1, 2, and 4. Where's the third one? Or is it that pig prank with 3 pigs, but
Unparalleled confession.
1, 2, and 4?
Kai is worn down, praying desperately before a statue of the Virgin Mary when Sol arrives at the church. Sol notices a child hiding behind Dizzy's skirt named Sin. While he appears to be the size of a 3 or 4-year-old, Dizzy mentions that it's been 6 months. Gears not only mature at an advanced rate compared to humans, they also develop superior cognitive abilities at a faster rate as well, essentially reaching adulthood in 3 years. Sol notices the child's right eye is covered by an eye
But then
patch.
Sin is gonna be
It feels as if
5,
something sinister is being hidden.
and his cognitive
Gesturing
abilities
to
aren't
Kai,
that great.
Dizzy asks Sol to please help him. The man Sol sees praying is a shadow of his former self. Kai has pale, thin cheeks and bags under his lifeless eyes. Sol smirks to himself as he notices Kai's right eye covered by an eye patch as well. What did you come here for? Your god sent me because your confession was taking too long. Sol picks a fight, but Kai's energy is that of a man who's already defeated himself. Pushing Kai to his limits, Sol
Yeah, I think he
drags
just
what's
pushes him.
left of the old Kai out to the surface, showing some signs of life. But before things heat up, young Sin grabs Sol's leg and says, I hate Dad, but if Dad gets hurt, Mom will cry, and I won't forgive anyone who makes Mom cry.
Punches him in the balls.
Sol asks the child if he's scared. Sin says that he is, but it doesn't matter. Sol then turns to Kai and says that his son is already tougher than he is. Kai asks Sol if he can take care of Sin
Nice.
for a while,
Brutal
knowing
insult.
it's an unreasonable request. Sol asks if this is the answer that Kai found. Kai says it's not, but with a little time, he can make a safe world where his wife and child can smile. Sol then accepts without hesitation. Well then, no complaints on what kind of man he becomes.
That's fair, yeah, that is fair.
2184 AD. Chip Zanuff travels to a lawless area in the southern part of Africa and declares it the Eastern Chip Kingdom, taking thousands of families under poverty and criminals under his wing. As this area has seen little aid following the Crusades, Chip manages to re-establish some stability, earn the people's respect, and is working towards UN recognition. He chooses a ninja businessman named Answer as his right hand, and appoints himself president of a kingdom. 2185.
It's a great name for someone to
Young
be
Sin decides it's time he learned how to fight
asking questions
and wonders
to.
about
I don't
using
know.
Sol's weapon.
Formulated
doubts
it
it.
wrong.
Noting his affinity for lightning, Sin says it needs to be something that he can charge into battle with, that's manly and stylish, and most importantly, eye-catching.
Flag, I don't know.
Soul sarcastically tells him to go wave a flag.
Yeah,
Guilty Gear
I've
2
heard of that already.
Overture.
There was a lot of lore before this, but there wasn't like a big end. Wasn't anything like a big bad.
Long dormant gears begin to disappear without explanation.
Maybe that
Based
just
on
wasn't the
date of
game, that's
first
why.
recorded occurrence, these events are later referred to as the Baptisma 13 incident.
Oh, I've
The
heard of this.
Backyard. The Backyard is an extremely mechanical and autonomous world of information that creates all possibilities and determines all events. Consider infinite potential occurrences being reduced to a single outcome by an automated process of discards and selections. The results are determined calculations, and thus they could be described as destiny. Despite the astronomically low probability of occurring, the phenomenon known as the Big Bang could be considered the result of all other outcomes being discarded. In other words, the Backyard is a programming language, and the universe in which we live is the software. If any normal human were to enter the Backyard, they would instantly be crushed to death by the density of information contained within.
Yeah, that's what happened.
The
What's
first
happening
one.
in another story.
A being is created within the Backyard at a point in time that would be impossible to discern using our world as a reference point. The template of a specific human woman is used to create the body,
Is that Ina?
and a soma is provided so that it may gain consciousness. But some irregularities occur due to the intervention of Mother. As such, Valentine is born.
Oh, just Valentine.
After
Okay,
performing
never
a
mind.
self-diagnostic, Valentine concludes that she is not someone named Aria, but queries who Aria is, as excess memories and emotions appear to be present, containing feelings for someone named Frederick. With no way to interpret this residual data, emotional processes are put on hold until she can complete her objective to find a key for Mother. But there appears to be no exit. She wanders aimlessly for an undetermined period of time until she encounters a talkative, sleazy black sphere named Lucifero. It follows her. Somewhere,
Okay.
an autonomous troublemaker, only referred to as Mr. A to protect his honor, accidentally and unconsciously causes a gate to appear,
But
allowing
Axel?
Valentine to exit the Backyard. She steps in through and arrives on Earth in the year 2186.
Just the moral that's shown is that the weapons that Axel
40
uses.
dormant gears have vanished without explanation. Sin, who has grown into a cheerful but unrefined youth, travels with Soul, collecting bounties.
What is at this point?
They spot a wanted poster for Soul,
What is he at this
which she
point? 3?
interprets as a tasteless call for help from King Kai Kisk of Illyria. Once they arrive at the castle, however, they notice the area is abandoned. Soul feels a severe headache and is suddenly attacked by Valentine and her army of creatures called the Visuel. Soul initially loses his composure, as Valentine's face is identical to Aria, but he regains it upon determining that this is in fact a stranger. She states that she's after the key, and fights Soul to a stalemate before escaping, as she too begins to feel a headache. The Visuel army fights using an unfamiliar powerful form of magic that uses tuning outside of the 12 steps. Soul and Sin are initially unable to fight at all, until a mysterious fox-eared yokai arrives and unlocks their ability to defeat this new enemy by optimizing the chords of their summoning magic. He introduces himself as Izuna, originating from Underworld Hill, a pseudo-space dimension close to the Backyard. It is home to other magic-based life forms called yokai. Signs seem to suggest that Underworld Hill is actually man-made, and that Izuna is the guardian spirit incarnation of an island that used to be known as Japan. Rare irregularities in the Backyard can result in this kind of phenomena. 2187 AD. Inside Illyria Castle, the bodies of King Kai's convict hammer guard are strewn about, and the king himself is sealed with a powerful spell. Next to him, Raven, the undying disease, is inexplicably present. He observes that Soul has now acquired the backyard's abilities and vanishes, asking Soul if he has a message for that man. As the seal holding the king is an advanced encrypted cord, Izuna suggests that they get help from one of the world's foremost magic experts, Dr. Paradigm. They journey to the Ganymede archipelago using Izuna's teleportation magic.
Convenient.
Soul's hatred of gears causes some initial tensions, but Dr. Paradigm's observations about the ongoing crisis provide unparalleled insight. He correctly identifies Soul as Frederick, the scientist from 100 years ago. Soul reveals that the usage of limitless energy without knowing its source was an alarming prospect to scientists and scholars at the time, but humanity was too desperate to look a gift horse in the mouth following the dawn of revival. It was then hypothesized that the source of magic was a superior dimension, thus creating the backyard theory. Dr. Paradigm explains that the cube he discovered appears to be a control interface where man could manipulate this world, and that the survival in dense information space could be made possible with the original gear cells specifically created by that man. Dr. Paradigm frees King Kai. Sin immediately asks if his mother is safe, but when Kai can't say for sure, Sin chews him out as a king incapable of protecting anything and leaves.
Shitty king.
Kai then explains that a few days ago, Dizzy began to fade away like the other vanishing gears, so to save her, he used up the Thunder Seal's magic to create a temporal barrier, holding her in stasis mid-disintegration. Dr. Paradigm, suspecting Dizzy had been kept alive as another weaponized gear in the hands of the government, explains that she is a complete backup of Justice, so she too contains the special gear cells that would allow one to enter the cube. Valentine must thus be absorbing gears in search of these cells. Dr. Paradigm moves to destroy Dizzy to mitigate all risks, but Kai stops him, openly proclaiming that he has fallen in love with the gear. Dizzy can still be saved if Valentine is defeated, but Valentine abducts and mind controls Sin instead. Since he too is a descendant of Justice, she retrieves the key from his gear cells and leaves him behind to deal with Soul.
Okay, Sin went goth.
After defeating a brainwashed Sin,
Keep
the
kicking
group
him.
chases after her, but she's already accessed a dimensional gate to the backyard.
No, that's nice. If you die and make
Fighting
mom
alongside
sad, I'm
his
gonna
father,
kill you.
Sin begins to respect him slightly more, but none are able to open the gate until that man appears.
Well, but Valentine herself opened it or something.
The gear maker himself appears before Soul, who immediately prepares to engage.
Dragon
Soul
install!
remarks that his appearance has really fallen, and that man accepts it, as well as the blame for the Crusades, and turning Soul into a gear. However, he explains that there's no time to deal with any of this, because Valentine, the Universal Will's offspring, needs to be stopped.
She's an
Before
offspring
any
of
answers
the
can be
Universal
given,
Will. Okay.
that man casts an effect on the group that allows them to pass beyond the gate and sends them off. With this spell, they can survive the information density of the backyard, now that they've spent some time attuned to it. Soul, Izuna, Dr. Paradigm, and eventually Sin enter the gate and arrive at the edge of isolated space. Valentine has begun the process of unlocking the cube, but is interrupted, Soul rushes ahead while the others keep her busy. Unable to understand why she keeps failing, Valentine wonders if the emotional processes she put on hold are the cause. She suddenly gets furious and changes into a larger armored form, loosely reminiscent of Justice.
Very loosely, yeah.
Due to the similarities in the programming of the cube and Soul's own gear cells, he is able to understand the unlock process, but short on time, he simply breaks it completely. Valentine loses her purpose and prepares to self-destruct while closing the gate. Soul stays behind to stop her final form with his dragon install, while the others escape.
Damn, she angry. She gonna look like Justice completely? Nope, that doesn't look like anything really. Very handy character. It's gonna be Scream. Dragon install. Oh.
Valentine is destroyed. With no way out, Soul thinks
I
of
don't know if that
Illyria.
was in the video or
That
in
man
the real world.
appears and tells Soul he needs to survive to face the universal will in the coming merciless apocalypse. He then tells Frederick to live on as the flame of corruption. Soul asks if he was behind Valentine resembling Arya. That man says not at all, because Arya had already been killed by the two of them. Soul swears to kill the Gearmaker next time, and corrects him on the name as the gate opens to send him home. He isn't Frederick. His name is Soul.
Soul bad guy. So cool, such a cool name.
With the crisis averted, Dr. Paradigm begins
now.
the process of saving Dizzy. Kai offers Dr. Paradigm a place in Illyria for Gears to live in the open for the sake of his wife and child. Soul thinks back on that man's words and wonders, Asuka, what are you thinking?
So that's the first time that man got an actual name. Okay. Well, this was indeed interesting. We kind of moved on, or not really, from the timeline thing. Because like close to the beginning of the video, or like the middle, there was the Ina situation where we were moving, seeing what happened in different timelines, and then we kind of moved on. And it wasn't brought up again. And I'm not sure if we're like now in the main timeline, or is this one still a different one, and then maybe next video we'll come back to this one. What I'm saying is, I'm not sure what's going on. I want to check something before I move on. No, there is no... There's no notes and description of the next one either. Alright. Fair. Fine, I wanted to talk about them, but I guess they don't exist. Oh well. Thank you everybody for watching this. I appreciate it a lot. I hope to see you next time, and goodbye. Have a great life, because one of us has to.